Congratulations! You decided to invest your time into the development of a strategic plan for your company that will show you how to get from where you are to where you want to be in the next 3 to 5 years. But which strategic planning framework should you use? Which one is best for you? In this first of a two-part video series, I'm going to compare the most popular strategic planning frameworks used in corporate America today, including the SWOT Matrix Framework, Balanced Scorecard, Blue Ocean, PEST Analysis, and industry best practices. I'll show you the pros and cons about each one and which ones I recommend and use with my clients. If you are serious about learning about strategic planning tools because you want to develop your own strategic plan, then this video is for you. Transforming your business from struggling to success and from success to significance. Before looking at the various strategic planning frameworks and their strengths and weaknesses, you need to understand where these strategic planning tools come from, who is creating them, and why. Before you get excited about a new strategic planning framework that is out there that is being circulated in a CEO must-read list, you should take a look at who is creating it and why. The short answer is that these frameworks are not being developed by people like you. They are not being written by CEOs of large companies who are leaders in their respective industries. For the most part, these authors aren't leading any companies. Who are they then? They generally come from one of two industries: academia or the management consulting industry. Sometimes the authors are employed in both industries. In the world of academia, there's a famous adage, publish or perish. If you are going to be a leader in a certain field of academia, such as corporate strategy, you must be well published. You will never make a name for yourself by teaching or embracing an old concept, no matter how good or valid it is. You need to be on the cutting edge with something new, ideally something new and better. But if it is truly new, few people have had the time to test its performance against existing concepts to determine which is really better. Readers will be relying on your research results, and let's face it, the author of a new concept isn't exactly objective about their new idea. If you are writing a dissertation for your PhD, you must engage in original research. You can't promote existing strategic planning frameworks. You must develop a new one and show how your new framework is better than previous frameworks. Even better, show how companies have already been using the framework that you are just now identifying and naming. That will provide you with instant credibility without creating a controlled test environment. If you were in the management consulting industry, which I was and still am involved with, you can charge companies hundreds of thousands of dollars and even millions of dollars when you help them develop their own strategic plan. Seriously, creating strategic plans for large companies is a huge revenue stream in the management consulting industry. However, you can't charge that kind of fee if you're using a well-known and proven framework that is easy to understand. Instead, you will need to implement a new strategy framework that is not well-defined or understood. Even better, create some new templates that are convoluted and difficult to complete and understand, but look very promising. This will ensure you maintain job security within your consulting engagement. You can't charge big bucks to helping companies create and implement simple, proven frameworks like the ones that I will recommend in this video. In summary, most of the books and articles in strategic planning and their associated frameworks are being written by non-CEOs to keep themselves on the payroll. That doesn't mean that their material is bad or without merit, but understand the who, where, and why before you spend time and money embracing their what and how. It's guaranteed there'll be many more strategic planning frameworks to come. The livelihood and reputation of those in the industry requires it. With that said, let's start comparing the most popular strategic planning framework tools in corporate America. SWOT Matrix Analysis. The SWOT Matrix or framework is one of the oldest and most utilized tools for conducting strategic planning. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The history and authorship of the tool is unclear. It is often credited to Albert S. Humphrey, who developed a satisfactory opportunity, fault, and threat model, or SOFT, while at SRI International in the 1970s. But it was also said to be used at Harvard Business School in the 1960s, where, guess what, Humphrey received an MBA. Regardless of who developed it, it has probably been implemented more than any of the other alternative strategic planning frameworks that we will discuss. The purpose of the SWOT Matrix Analysis is to identify the most fruitful strategic opportunities where your strengths are magnified and your weaknesses minimized, while defending against threats that have the potential to disrupt your business. The SWOT Matrix provides a framework to view your current strategic position in your industry. It also serves as a planning tool to analyze your strategic opportunities in light of relevant internal and external data, and then make informed decisions on the best possible path you can take to intercept your future goals. The best possible path being the path with the greatest probability of success. What I like best about the SWOT Matrix is that it is self-validating. Once completed, you can analyze your past contracts, products, customers, and opportunities against your SWOT matrix. If you created your matrix accurately so that it contains an honest assessment of your strengths and weaknesses, you will find your matrix predicted the success and problems you had in the past. The contracts, products, and customers that align to your strengths were the ones you performed best on. These were the successful opportunities you built your company on. The contracts, products, and customers that align with your weaknesses were the ones where you had the most problems with. These were the opportunities and projects from hell that you would like to forget about. The greatest weakness of the SWOT Matrix analysis is that it doesn't generate strategy itself, but serves as a tool to identify and rank strategies that can help you achieve your goals. By the way, the same weakness can be said about the other strategic planning frameworks. It's the analysis of the SWOT Matrix, which is somewhat of an art and is discussed in a separate video, that helps you generate your strategic plan, not the matrix itself. If that doesn't make any sense, look at it this way. When you create your SWOT matrix, you are creating a map. But then you have to study the map to determine where you are on the map and which direction you should go to get to your destination in the shortest amount of time. Additionally, by focusing on your strengths and what worked well in the past, the SWOT matrix tends to favor inside-the-box thinking and not the radical outside-the-box thinking promoted by some frameworks, such as Blue Ocean. So let's look at the pros and cons. The pros. SWOT Matrix Analysis is the best known and understood strategy framework with plenty of successful examples. Since it creates strategies that are geared towards your strengths, it provides the highest probability of success once executed. Although somewhat time-consuming, it is easy to learn, adopt, and implement. It is a very methodical and complete framework to use as a planning tool. It can be incorporated easily with other planning frameworks that we will discuss. So what are the cons? Since it focuses on matching your strengths to opportunities, it can steer people to inside-the-box thinking and away from doing something radically new and different. Since it takes a very methodical approach, it takes a significant amount of time, I would say at least 2 months, to develop a strategic plan using numerous team meetings, especially if you've never done this before. If you want more information on how to develop and analyze the SWOT matrix for your strategic plan, take a look at the 2 videos I did on the SWOT matrix and SWOT analysis, as well as my book, Strategic Planning for Kingdom Businesses, where I provide an example of a completed SWOT matrix and the strategic plan that came out of it. Next, we'll look at excellent execution of industry best practices. Industry best practices is not recognized by business schools as a formal strategic planning framework, at least not yet. Unfortunately, excellent execution is always taking a backseat to innovation when it comes to business practices. Perfecting someone else's original idea is considered stodgy. Many of the authors of these strategies seem to think that differentiating yourself from your competitors can only be done by doing something completely different than your competitors. Their underlying assumption seems to be that if you're doing the same thing as your competitor, you are doing it equally well. From my experience, that is seldom true. The companies that are at the top of their industry were seldom the first to market or innovate. For example, neither Apple or Microsoft were the first to sell personal computers or cell phones. When you think innovation, you can't help think about Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Bill Gates, and the McDonald brothers. However, neither of those people created the original ideas that made them famous. Instead, they perfected or significantly improved upon somebody else's original idea. Their innovation was to execute the idea much better than their competitors. If you think that Google was one of the first internet search engines, you would be surprised to know that they weren't even close to being the first. But now the term Google has entered our vernacular regarding internet searches. It seems that there are 2 types of innovation: original outside-the-box strategies that go where no man has gone before, and perfecting someone else's ideas by executing them better than anybody else. You could argue that the best football teams win their games not by inventing new plays, but by executing familiar plays better than their competition. In other words, excellent execution will beat innovation most of the time. That has been my experience and observation in life and business. So what are the pros and cons of excellent execution of industry best practices? On the pros, it's the simplest strategy to understand. Industry best practices are guaranteed to work. Your competition is currently proving it. They work well in well-established industries, and excellent execution will beat innovation most of the time. So what are the cons? It lacks the attractiveness of something new and cutting edge. By focusing on what your competition is doing, it has the potential to keep you from missing creative, outside-the-box ideas that could really separate you from your competition. Next, we'll look at PEST analysis. PEST stands for Political, Economic, Socio-Cultural, and Technological Analysis, PEST. PEST analysis and strategic planning looks at external factors that can influence a company's survivability and growth. They represent the threats and, in some cases, the opportunities your company will face as you look into the future. Variants of PEST analysis will include other factors, such as legal and environmental, such as PESTEL, that may factor into your threats and opportunities. As mentioned in the SWOT Matrix Analysis video and chapter, threats to your company or industry can sometimes be viewed as opportunities. For example, the use of technological applications similar to Uber and Airbnb can be a disruptor in your business model industry, or if you choose to be an early adopter, it can be seen as an opportunity to become a leader in your industry. The biggest weakness of PEST or its variants is that it doesn't look at your strengths and weaknesses. Therefore, it is ignoring the Pareto principle and assumes that each opportunity has an equal chance of being successful in impacting your company's bottom line. As we already said in the analysis of the Pareto principle, that is not true. During the validation process of your SWOT analysis, you should have seen that the projects where you had the greatest success were the ones that played towards your strengths, while the projects where you failed and lost money played towards your weaknesses. However, PEST does combine well with SWOT analysis. In fact, the SWOT questions listed in the SWOT Matrix video and in the Strategic Planning for Kingdom Businesses book include numerous threats from the PEST framework. So what are the pros and cons? On the pro side, PEST is simple and well-documented threat questions. Threats can be viewed as opportunities, and they work well with other frameworks such as SWOT. So what are the cons? PEST doesn't look at its strengths and weaknesses. In fact, they become irrelevant. You can successfully implement PEST without achieving your vision. For example, you ran your football play successfully, but you didn't get the ball in the end zone. So it was successful, but it really wasn't. PEST provides a bottom-up approach to strategic planning and a top-down approach as preferred by some. In part 2 of this video, we will discuss the second most popular strategic planning framework in corporate America, which is Balanced Scorecard, as well as the newest, most innovative, and discussed approaches to strategic planning, which is Blue Ocean. If you are considering using one of these two frameworks in your next strategic plan, then I highly recommend that you watch part 2 of this video series beforehand. If this video has been of some help to you, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. If there are any other topics you'd like to see discussed relating to strategic planning, please let me know. Until then, be blessed and keep doing business His way.